Hello everyone, Rich here. If you miss me, let me know in the comments or simply leave a like. And today we are going to make a video analysis on DXY and almost all USD pairs like EURUSD, AUDUSD, USDJPY, GBPUSD, and so on. So let me turn off my camera as you don't want to see me, right? You want to see the charts. And let's get started. As for our last analysis, we know that the XY is currently sitting around a critical area, right? It's a very, very strong support area. That's why we are interested in buying the USD. We are speculating a bullish movement from around this zone. Unless, and I repeat, as I always say, unless price breaks it down aggressively, then our support would become resistance and we'll be looking for sell setups on C-test. But for now, since price is sitting around support, we'll be looking for buy setups. As I always say, trading is reactive and not predictive, so we can't really know what may happen unless our rules are met. That's why I always say, always follow your rules as per your trading plan. And as you can see from a medium term or from a long term perspective from daily time frame, this one is trading inside this wedge, making low lows and lower highs. And we all know that the wedge pattern is a stronger pattern than the channel, as we all know that the channel price would be making low lows and deep low lows and deep low highs, while in the wedge pattern price is making low lows and lower highs. This one is overall bearish. However, price is not, or the sellers are not able to push price very deep to touch the lower trend line. Instead, the retest is getting weaker and weaker, right? That's why you know that most probably price will reverse from around here, but we can't know for sure from where. I know many traders who have already bought around here, as price is sitting around this key support area. However, we all know that the support zones are not laser lines on our charts, and they are instead zones, right? That's why we call them zones. So we know that price can still dive in inside the zone to get more liquidity to kick early buyers out before going up. But since price is sitting around support, we'll be looking for buy setups. And of course, as price approaches our upper brown trend line, we will be looking for trend following sell setups. So if we zoom into H4 time frame, we can see that, and I've already posted this one, and I posted a picture of this one like 2 or 3 hours ago. Price was around here. I mentioned that this one is still overall bearish from a short-term perspective, but we are waiting for this swing to form, right? So we are speculating a downward movement before the upward movement occur. So we'll be waiting for this swing to form. Price was around here, so we were waiting for a new swing high to form around our upper red trend line to consider it valid, as this trend line only connects two swings, right? So we want price to form a third one so that our trend line would be valid. Then and only then would be interested in buying this one after a momentum candle close above this area. Right? Meanwhile, until the buy is activated, the XY, as I said previously, we can't really know from where it will reverse, right? So until the buy is activated, this one can still trade lower and lower inside our resistance. Inside our support zone before going up. So it can still trade lower and lower. We'll be looking for buy around our lower red trend line as short-term buy on M30 and H1, but will not look for sell setups as it's sitting around support. So we have two scenarios from here. We'll be waiting for price, as mentioned now, to approach our lower red trend line to look for short-term buy, and then we'll be waiting for a new swing to form around our upper trend line to consider that, and then buy on spec upward. So and if of course if price forms a new swing high, then we consider it our new trigger swing. Now this one is getting really messy, so here we go. Okay, so now we know what we are expecting on the XY. So let's move forward to the first pair, which is EURUSD. And we all know that I am personally waiting for a sell setup on EURUSD, and it's almost ready, but I'm waiting for the trigger. I'm waiting for a momentum candle close below this last swing to sell EURUSD, of course with our stop loss just above the last swing high, and as usual we'll target a 2 to 1 risk to reward ratio, which would be around our lower brown trend line. We can see our brown trend line clearer around here on H4 time frame. This one is overall bullish, and since it's sitting around our resistance zone, which we can clearly see on daily and weekly, we'll be looking for sell setups. But of course, as mentioned, price can still break this area upward to test the upper brown trend line and red resistance before going down. But since it's sitting around resistance, we'll be looking for some setups, right? We always wait for extra confirmation, which would be in our case. This setup is ready as mentioned. We'll be waiting for a momentum candle close below this swing to sell EURUSD. That's it for EURUSD. Meanwhile, this one can still trade higher for new swings or for a new sell setup. Then we'll adjust our analysis accordingly. Okay, so that's it for EURUSD. Let's move forward to USDJPY. Here, as I posted last week, I was waiting for a new swing to form around our red trend line to consider it valid, and then buy on swing upward. And here we go. Here we can see the big picture. Even on daily time frame, we can see that this one is trading inside this wedge pattern, making making low lows and lower highs, and since price was sitting around our lower blue trend line, which I consider an over sold area, we were looking for buy setups. And of course, as mentioned, which is even better, which is a setup with a higher probability, we will be looking for sell setups around this area. So we are still waiting for price to approaches this trend line and resistance area, which you can clearly see if we zoom out. Many rejections from it. Price has been holding this resistance has or support has been holding for a while now, and price breaks it downward, so it's now acting as resistance, and we'll be waiting for sell setups to form around it. Okay, so here we go. If you zoom in again to H1 time frame, we can see that we already missed this opportunity. Price didn't form a new swing around our upper red trend line, so the conditions are not met. Even though we know that this one went up as we were waiting for, but our conditions are not met to buy, so we missed this buy opportunity. But for now, on USDJPY, we'll be waiting for price to approach this area to look for sell setups. So we'll be waiting for price to form like this, for example, and then we'll have a trend line and we'll enter sell on to break downward, or even price can still go up, make a double top pattern, then we'll enter sell on the neckline, break downward. For now, we don't have anything clear on USDJPY, so let's move on. Let's go to USDCAD. Next, we will do GBPUSD, AUDUSD, and NZDUSD. So on USDCAD, if you zoom out to daily time frame, we can see that this one is currently trading inside this floor, right? So here's our support and here's our resistance. So as price approaches our lower support, of course, as usual, we'll be looking for buy setups. And as price approaches our upper resistance, we'll be looking for sell setups. So it's currently sitting midway. So we'll be waiting for price to get here to look for sell, or price to approach our support, which is a more probable scenario, to look for buy setups. If you zoom into H1, we can see that this one is still overall bearish from a short-term perspective, making low lows and lower highs. So the sellers are in full control now, as you can clearly see. But as mentioned, as price approaches our lower blue support, we'll be looking for buy setups. So let's extend this one like this. Here we go. So I'm personally waiting for price to get here or even here. Okay, so we are waiting for a new swing high to form around our upper red trend line, and we all know that the support is a zone. So we can consider that this is our support area and even a little bit lower. So from here and from around here, this is our support area. So we'll be waiting for a new swing high. We want USDCAD to approach this area, then form a new swing high, then consider it our trigger swing, and then we'll enter buy after a momentum candle close above it. And of course, our stop loss would be just below the previous swing low, and we'll target a 2 to 1 risk reward ratio, which would be around our upper resistance. And of course, as price approaches our resistance, we'll be looking for sell setups. So you already know the same old story. So meanwhile, unless the buy is activated, USD CAD would be overall bearish and can still dive inside our support before going up. So that's it for USD CAD. Of course, we'll go over now on AUDUSD as it is negatively highly correlated with USD CAD. So you can see the exact same pattern. As you can see, this one is upward and this one is downward. So you can see the exact opposite pattern on AUDUSD and USD CAD. I posted this one like 2 or 3 days ago. AUDUSD is currently sitting around a very strong resistance area, right? Here we go, very strong one. And if we go back in history, we can see that it has been respected for a while, and so as price is sitting around it, we'll be looking for sell setups. As mentioned last time, unless price breaks it upward aggressively, then our resistance would become support and we're looking for buy setups. But for now, this one is sitting around resistance, so we are looking for sell setups. And we're waiting. If you, I don't know if you remember, if you saw this one while I posted the last 2 3 days ago, price was around here, and I told you we were waiting for a new swing low to form around our lower that trend line to consider it our trigger swing, and that's exactly what happened. For now, our analysis is being respected, but we are waiting for our trigger, which would be after a momentum candle close below this last swing. And of course, we target a 2 to 1 risk to reward ratio. That's for our short-term setup. And if we zoom out to H4, we can see that we also have a longer term setup. Meanwhile, until the sell is activated, AUDUSD would be overall bullish and can still trade a little bit higher before going down, or like I said on daily, can still break this one aggressively for it to become support, and we'll be looking for buy setups around it. I'll do NZDUSD quickly as it's highly correlated with AUDUSD. As you can see, the exact same pattern. And of course, this one is approaching a resistance area. If we zoom out, we can see a very strong and very huge area. As you can see, we have from 0.74 till 0.76. So that being said, we know that AD and NZDUSD, sorry, AD NZDUSD, okay, can still dive inside this zone to get more liquidity to be able to push price lower. But for now, since price is approaching our upper brown trend line, which I consider an overbought area, we will be looking for trend reversal setups, as price can still reverse before reaching the upper resistance area. And of course, as price approaches our lower brown trend line, we'll be looking for trend following buy setups. So for now, we'll be looking for sell, knowing that price can still dive inside the resistance before going down, right? So we'll zoom into H1 or even M30 to look for sell setups, and here we go. Price formed. Let me zoom in, zoom out more. Here we go. So we are waiting for a momentum candle close below this swing to consider it valid and to sell NZDUSD, knowing that price can still trade higher, make a new swing, and then will enter sell after this new swing. But for now, here's our last swing low. Meanwhile, NZDUSD would be overall bullish, and as mentioned, can still test this area, and this area would be a very, very strong and interesting area, as we have the intersection of the brown trend line and the green resistance and the and the red channel. So it would be very interesting to look for sell setups if price made it there. So last but not least, we have GBPUSD. Here we go. So we have GBPUSD. If we zoom out to daily, price is still sitting around this huge resistance area, and we've got many news on GBP that it will go up or it will go down. Let us not trade what we hear. Let us trade what we see. We are still looking for sell setups, and I insist, we are still looking for sell setups unless and only unless, if and only if, price breaks it upward aggressively. I am still bearish on GBPUSD. I'm only looking for sell unless we have many bullish big candles closing above this entire area. As you can see, price can barely break this one upward. It's stuck inside this area. So price was making big impulse, more corrective, big impulse, more corrective, and now it is stuck inside this range. So let's see if we'll get a corrective from here, just like it was doing here, or a trend continuation. If price breaks it upward aggressively, then and only then we'll be looking for buy setups on the retest. But for now, we'll be looking for sell setups as mentioned, and as price approaches our low round trend line, we'll be looking for trend following buy setups. If we zoom into H1 time frame, we can see that GBPUSD is currently trading inside this descending triangle. It is valid and objective now, as it connects at least three dots, or for those who don't have RichTL, three swings. So we'll be waiting for a momentum candle close below this area to sell GBP USD. Meanwhile, and as I always say, until the sell is activated, GBP USD would be overall bullish, and it wouldn't be a good idea to sell. So don't sell now. Don't try to catch the exact top or exact bottom in case of a buy. Always wait for extra confirmation. So we're waiting for a momentum can close below this one to sell GBP USD. And as usual, we'll target a 2 to 1 risk to reward ratio. Here we go. And let me put auto, and here we go. Okay, so that's it for the USD pairs. Wishing you the best. Good luck.